Yo Shmupers, it's Vinu. Today we're talking about DoDonPachi DaiFukkatsu, also known as DFK or Resurrection in the West, who was originally launched in arcades in 2008, then came to Xbox 360 in 2010, followed by the Black Label version in 2011, hit Steam in 2016, and finally arrived on Nintendo Switch in 2021 with a physical release in Japan and a limited run games edition for the West. Let's quickly go over the different ports and get that out the way. Overall, the work is very solid. The input lag is excellent across all versions, sitting at around 3 frames. There is a few minor differences in slowdown. If you really want to nitpick, the Steam version seems to have slightly less, at least from what I can tell. But unless you're aiming for a world record or 2-all, it's completely negligible. And of course, all versions include a Tate mode. This is the fourth main entry in the series. First came DonPachi in 1995, then DoDonPachi in 1997, DoDonPachi Daiojo in 2002, then this DoDonPachi DaiFukkatsu, and finally Sadaiojo, Cave last arcade games released in 2012. I'm not counting DoDonPachi 2 Beastorm from 2001, since it was developed by IGS and not Cave. As for the core gameplay, it's classic DoDonPachi. You've got a wide shot, a focused shot that deals more damage but slows your ship down, bombs, and an hyper you can trigger once the gauge in the top left is full. Activating it cancels bullet on screen, boosts your damage and slow down enemy projectile. It also cancels every bullet if you stay in a wide shot. However, be careful, the more you use your hyper, the higher the rank gets, meaning patterns become harder and eventually you won't even be able to cancel bullets with your shot anymore. The rank resets at the start of each stage. Another unique feature of this game is the purple lasers you have to push back using your own laser. Basically, it's a Kamehameha battle. It's a cool idea, and some sections use it really well, forcing you to constantly switch between laser and wide shot. The problem is that they push the concept way too far, in the infamous Stage 5 section, where you have to memorize the entire route or you will lose a tons of bombs and lives. I find this section not fun at all. It's just a pure memorizer. For me, it completely kills the flow of the game and makes the whole thing frustrating for no good reason. This entry is also considered beginner-friendly thanks to the auto bombs, which trigger automatically when you get hit, and you get a lot of them, making the game much easier, sometimes a bit too easy in my opinion. You can still use bombs manually, which lasts longer and do more damage. When it comes to scoring, I will keep it simple. Just like in the other games in the series, there is a chain system. You build your chain by destroying enemies without letting too much time pass between kills, otherwise it resets to 0. The higher your chain, the higher your score. You can use bees and hypers to help maintain it. Unlike previous entries, the bees alternate between 2 colors. Green, which increases your hyper gauge by 30%, and yellow, which give you points based on how many bees you've collected in this stage. If you pick one up right as it switch colors during the quick white flash, you get the bonus of both colors. There are 2 score-based extend at 1 and 10 billion points, as well as a hidden extra life in stage 3. Getting the second extend requires quite a bit of scoring, which I'm not doing here. Thanks to all the auto bombs, you can finish the first loop without it. Like every DoDonPachi except Sadaiojo, the game features a second loop, with 2 variations, Ura and Omote. Each has different requirements to unlock, such as collecting a certain number of bees or not dying during the first loop. There is also an alternate set of bosses based on the ones from the first DoDonPachi, which you can access by destroying 3 specific silos, before they get flipped over by tanks at the start of stage 1. There is a ton of versions. The first one was V1.0, but it was quickly pulled due to safe spots, counter-stopping exploits that made the score impossible and other bugs. After that came V1.5, which quickly became the standard arcade version. That's the one I used for this 1cc run. You can choose between 3 usual DoDonPachi ships, A, B and C. Here B is by far the best, with a very powerful concentrated shot and a wide shot that covers the entire screen. Next, you pick up your style, bomb, power or strong. Bomb is exactly what it sounds like, a mod with tons of bombs. Power lets you switch anytime between normal mode, where you're faster but deal less damage, and boost mode, you're slower but hitting harder. This style only gives you 1 bomb at max, making it much harder than the other 2, even though you get extra hypers. Finally strong, which I used in this run, give you lots of bombs, very strong firepower, but the ship moves slightly slower. It's the best of both worlds. The easiest mod and the one I recommend for beginners. To continue with the version, I won't go into details for all of them because it would be way too long and I don't know them all very well myself, so apologize in advance if I make mistakes. Besides version 1.0 and 1.5, there is a version 1.51, which is more scoring focused, and then the arranged versions. Arrange L lets you control Leian, the type A from Daiojo, with a mix between Daiojo and DaiFukkatsu. Arrange B is very complicated. To be honest, I didn't fully understand it. So I will put a link to the English wiki in the description. Black Label is one of the most popular mods, featuring new music, a new true last boss, a new scoring system, and only 1 loop. But be careful. If you play in strong mode, you will get the patterns from the second loop, which make it much harder. A red bar lets you influence the game's rank. There is also Orange Black Label or KetsuiPachi, which includes the Tiger helicopter from Ketsui and its lock-on system. It borrows Ketsui's scoring system with numbered boxes, this time up to 10, depending on how close you kill an enemy. The closer, the higher the points. It also has a new soundtrack. Basically, it's Ketsui scoring with DoDonPachi patterns and hyper. There are also novice modes for Black Label and V1.5, which are quite popular. As the name suggests, there are easier versions with fewer bullets and make it simple to maintain your chain. I will now give my personal take on DaiFukkatsu. I know it's a very popular shmup in the community and many people started their cave journey with this DoDonPachi, but personally, I never really clicked with it, even though I tried managing to 1cc the first loop. Graphically, I'm not a fan of the colors, background, overall boss design and even the patterns. Sure, some are nice, but overall they feel less polished than in previous entries. There is less of that wow factor in my opinion. The earlier games in the series were darker, especially DoDonPachi Daiojo. Here the color combinations are very flashy and a bit odd. This is also where the series took a lowly turn, with ship and bosses transforming into young girls. I actually prefer Daiojo because it fully embraces this concept. The flashy colors, the difficulty cranked to the max, and the game looks amazing. But this middle ground in DoDonPachi Resurrection, to me it feels soulless. As for the laser mechanic, on paper it's a great idea, as it forces the player to alternate between the regular shot to take out enemy clusters and the beam to push back lasers. It works really well in the early stages. The problem is they push it too far in stage 5. With a super long section, you have to memorize it perfectly or die repeatedly. for me that completely kills the fun. I find the auto bombs way too strong. Sure, they are less powerful than manually triggered bombs, but that's it. Given how many of them you have, it makes the game too easy, and at least not in an interesting way. In ESP Garuda, for example, an autobomb triggered in Kakusei will remove 50% of your shield instead of the usual 25%. Here the trade-off is completely unbalanced considering the sheer number of autobombs. Take the lasers in stage 5 I mentioned earlier. I hadn't learned that section at all, and yet it wasn't a problem. I just triggered autobomb 6 or 7 times to get through it. So I ended up 1cc the game without really knowing it. On top of that, this won't help you in other shmups, where most of the time there is no autobombs, so you will pick up bad habits. To me, the ability to anticipate a bomb, whether defensively or offensively, is an important mechanic in any shmup. If we compare to the first DoDonPachi, which also has a lot of bombs but no autobombs, you actually learn to manage your resources. That's something extremely important, even vital in any shoot 'em up, especially if you play for survival. This makes DoDonPachi First Loop accessible to the average players, helps you improve in shmups in general, and give you an incredible sense of accomplishment when you 1cc it. That's something I didn't feel with DFK, where I finished the first loop of the V1.5 in just few tries without really learning it, relying mostly on autobombs. The music isn't amazing either, especially compared to Daijojo, though the Black Label version does better. But don't get me wrong, it's still a high quality cave shmup, and you will get your money's worth, especially given all the arranged versions, but personally I just didn't click with it. And that's it for my take on DFK. Thanks so much for sticking around until the end, I really hope you enjoy it. I won't show the full run here, but you can check it out in the description. I will be making more videos soon, so stay tuned for more shoot 'em up content. Ciao Shmupers!